I was pretty empty. I didn't have much to give. I needed answers. I needed to be loved for who I was. I started reading about Judaism, God, what I must do to please Him. It was really quite frustrating. What I was reading really didn't show me a picture of a very loving God, but rather a picture of a God who demanded things of me. Why would I want to enter into a relationship with a God that I could never really please? I was different from my Gentile friends. I proudly wore my Jewish star. I was happy to tell my Catholic friends that I couldn't go to church with them. But in terms of really understanding what it meant to be Jewish, I really couldn't tell you, except that I wasn't supposed to believe in Jesus. At 13 years old, I went to see Led Zeppelin. I just knew that I wanted to somehow be in rock music. I was 18, so I packed my bags and flew to London, England, thinking that I could get into a band pretty easily. Well, I got there and life was not very easy. Bands were a dime a dozen. My boyfriend started becoming abusive emotionally. I was lonely, I was hurting, I wasn't making friends as easily as I had hoped I would, and I found myself pretty dependent upon him. I was desperately in need of some answers. I thought that I would find the answers to the meaning of my life, the meaning of love in my religion. So I went to the library and I checked out a few of the books that were available on Judaism. I started reading about God and I read a lot about what I must do to please Him. It was really quite frustrating and disturbing to me that what I was reading really didn't show me a picture of a very loving God, but rather a picture of a God who demanded things of me. I was pretty empty. I didn't have much to give. I needed answers. I needed to be loved for who I was. I ended up just putting those books down and just really kind of going into a sort of depression. And my relationship with this guy only got worse. The abuse really just intensified. At that same time, my brother and my best friend started sharing with me that if I wanted to know the way of happiness, if I wanted to know the truth, if I wanted joy in my life and peace, then I needed to turn to Jesus. Even though I wasn't a religious Jew, there was no way that I wanted to turn to this Jesus. I was a Jew, and Jesus was not for the Jewish people. Things took a bad turn. My boyfriend left me, and the band fired me. You know, the two most important things in my life were gone. One night after I had partied a lot, I came home to my quiet, dark apartment. I realized that I was at the lowest point I had ever felt in my life. I had a choice. I could have cried myself to sleep, or I could pick up that Bible that my brother had given me a few years earlier and start reading it. I went over to the drawer where I had stored this Bible. I opened that drawer, I pulled it out, and I started reading Matthew chapter 1, the genealogy of Jesus. And I saw that Jesus was a Jew. Jesus was related to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, King David, and the list went on. I was completely blown away. I just kept reading the pages, and I kept thinking, okay, if Jesus is Jewish, then I should be able to trust what these pages are saying. I saw that he loved me and that he was for me. The Spirit of God came into my room, and his presence was so thick that I felt like if I just closed my eyes and opened them, I would see God. I started to weep. A peace came upon me, a peace that I had never experienced before. I cried all night, but they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of joy that God had come and visited me that night and made it clear to me that Jesus was my Messiah, that I could trust him. The New Testament, it's a book of great love. It's a story of a man named Jesus who gave his life for mine. And I found that after I learned that about him, that I wanted nothing more than to give my life to him.